Let's welcome back to the show for his reaction from House Oversight. He is Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Congressman, what is your reaction to that report? Because we're seeing Georgetown University, they're now saying about a quarter of the $184 billion in pandemic aid for schools went toward things like fixing buildings and new construction.
My response is this is exactly why we did not want to send that money out in Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan or whatever the heck he called the thing at the time. It is reasons like this. They took that money. They wanted that money. They did not reopen schools. You know, the number one thing that would have kept kids on grade level. They listened to the teachers union. They followed their radical lead. I'm not talking about the teachers in the classroom. I'm talking about the unions. They followed them. And now we're finding out that the money was sent to all these other areas that didn't go to student performance. One last thing on this. Joe Biden wants to send out the rest of that money. There's about half a $1 trillion of obligated COVID spending that's supposed to go out the door this year. Hasn't left yet. It's on its way out the door. House Republicans are saying, why are we sending that money out? Yeah. COVID is over. Joe Biden wants to let it go out the door to continue funneling all these pet projects that we simply do not need.
Well, that's a red flag for another failure. This is a presidency that is failing, and we don't say that lightly, Congressman. 538 is saying the approval ratings for this president now are below every president going back to Truman. I mean, and now we've got to what you're saying, a new, more concrete pandemic fraud estimate, as much as $560 billion, or nearly 20% of the aid was stolen. We're talking from groups in China, Nigeria, Russia, federal prisoners applying under fake names. The jobless benefits fraud exploded to 21% rate from 9%. It more than doubled.
No, all those things that you're citing are absolutely true. We had a hearing back in February at the start of this where the Oversight Committee is looking into this. And by the way, we're not going to stop looking into this because the amount of fraud associated with these programs was outrageous. We have to take care of the people's money. We cannot just push this money out no matter what. And look, I get it. When COVID first hit and Congress responded on a bipartisan basis with the CARES Act, was everything perfect going out the door? No, it was a pandemic situation. Everybody was concerned about what was going on. But as these programs have continued to exist, more fraud has showed up in them, and we have a responsibility to shut it down.
Yeah, so, Congressman, we'd like your reaction to more voters on the street in Washington, D.C. They now say that this is a failed presidency. So the question is this why this White House is delaying President Biden's 2024 announcement to the fall? He may not run again. Watch this.
Well, if there was one lower than F, we'd aim for that. I think that we're being mismanaged to a severe degree.
As a country, we're just getting farther in debt. He's not actually helping out the situation.
Well, I think economically he has worked hard to limit the inflation.
Everything he touches goes wrong.
Congressman, what do you say?
I say that Joe Biden's terrible at his job, but guess what? I've been saying that for the past 2 years.
Yeah, but that's
and every time we turn around, he proves it time and time again.
But, you know, people say, oh, GOP lawmakers, of course they'll say that because he's on the other side of the aisle. But if you just took out the word Biden and saw what was going on, if you were just an average voter and you looked up, what would you say?
I would say that the government's completely out of control. They're not minding the store. They're not doing the jobs they're supposed to be doing. They're involved in other aspects of American life they have no business being involved in. The economy is a mess. Inflation's hurting my pocketbook. There's fentanyl in our streets. But, Liz, all that falls at the feet of Joe Biden. And real quick for the American people, if you think you can get rid of Joe Biden and the policies are going to change, no, they won't. Who are you going to get? Kamala Harris? Pete Buttigieg? We already seen he's a failure. Or what about Gavin Newsom, the governor of California? He's a disaster as well.
Congressman Donalds, thanks for joining us tonight. It's good to see you.
Anytime.